Welcome to Sewanee Study Abroad 101. Today we will do three things. First, I will introduce some of the basic programs that Sewanee students may participate in on study away or study abroad. Secondly, we will talk about Sewanee's study abroad procedures and policies. And third, we'll talk about some of the things that students should consider before planning their study abroad experience. When selecting a program, Sewanee students should begin by looking at the Office of Global Citizenship website. We have on the top page of our website a map with dots representing various programs that Sewanee is affiliated with. There are over 400 pre-approved programs from which students may select. Selecting a program from the pre-approved list assures that Sewanee students will be able to transfer credits from abroad, although they will also have to receive permission for the particular classes that they select while on those programs. Sewanee has worked hard to identify appropriate programs for our students that are both academically rigorous as well as safe for their well-being. If students wish to take a program that is not on the pre-approved list, they must receive special dispensation from the Standards Committee. There are four basic types of programs that I will introduce today. One is a group-centered model. Second is an investigative model. Third is a service learning model. And fourth involves direct enrollment. Before selecting a particular program for study abroad or study away, students should consider a set of related questions. First of all, they should decide what are their major study abroad or study away goals. For example, are they trying to advance their language abilities? Are they wanting to be introduced to field methodologies? Or are they interested in service learning? Secondly, what programs will help the student to advance in their major course of study or their minor fields? Third, what programs fit their particular limitations and what might provide a reasonable challenge to them? And finally, what areas of the world fit the students' particular interests and their language abilities? The first major type of study abroad program is a group-centered program. These kinds of programs involve Sewanee students being led on a program by a faculty member from our own institution or from an affiliated institution. During the spring, there is only one such program that Sewanee offers, and that is the Sewanee in Spain program. On that program, students go to Madrid, led by one of our own Spanish faculty members, and take classes at institutions in Madrid, as well as with the faculty member who leads the program. A second model of study abroad is an investigative program. On these types of programs, students typically engage in independent or group research projects. The School for International Training is one of the main programs that Sewanee is affiliated with that provides this type of opportunity. They have programs around the world in which students take 4 or 5 courses, one of which is an independent study project. In these types of programs, students get a deep understanding of a particular issue in that area of the world, and they learn field methods and then apply those in their research projects. One of the main benefits of this type of approach is that it allows students to both learn field research methods and apply them, as well as to have a close interaction with their host cultures. In addition to SIT, some other programs have built into to their models this type of investigative approach. A third model for study abroad is service learning. The International Partnership for Service Learning and Leadership is one of the main programs with which Sewanee is affiliated that focuses on service learning. This type of approach to study abroad introduces students to both language and local culture, as well as introduces them to the methodology of service learning and community development. In addition to the many programs offered by International Partnership for Service Learning and Leadership, or IPSL, our other study abroad programs offered by IES and other providers often introduce service learning components as well. Again, one of the benefits of service learning is that it deepens the understanding of some of the local challenges that various countries and cultures face in development and addressing global problems. It also allows students to make a real contribution to social justice in the host society. A fourth model for study abroad is direct enrollment. Many of the providers with which Sewanee works offer direct enrollment study abroad opportunities. In this type of model, students apply to go to a center or to a particular locale, such as the IES Buenos Aires program or the DIS program in Copenhagen. Once admitted into that program, students select courses at host institutions and take courses alongside the other students from that particular university. In this sense, students are able to integrate fully into the life of the campus with which they are affiliated. This allows a deep kind of integration into the campus life and an interesting introduction to local culture. As students begin to think about which program they wish to apply to, we encourage them to go to the Office of Global Citizenship website. On the top page of the website, students can find the map that's displayed on this slide. By clicking on various dots, they can find one or more programs at that particular location. They can compare the particulars of each of the programs that they're interested in before making their final selections. Studying abroad is an exciting opportunity, but it's also physically and mentally demanding. When considering whether to study abroad or where to study abroad, students should take careful consideration of their mental and physical well-being. They should consult with their family doctor, and Sewanee counselors before making a decision on whether to study abroad and where to study abroad. Their mental health considerations in particular may limit the kinds of appropriate programs for them. For example, if they suffer from depression or from anxiety, it may be more appropriate to go on a group-centered program rather than one that is more individualized, like an investigative program. Students should also recognize that countries' regulations on mental health and physical handicaps are vary widely, and so accommodations may not be available in some countries that host particular programs. Students should do investigations on their own to learn more about the country's conditions as well as the mental and physical accommodations that are available to them in those countries. Applying for study abroad involves two parallel processes. First, students must apply to particular programs through third parties. This is the external application process. The internal application process involves the filing of a number of forms and meeting of particular deadlines. The first main deadline is the filing of the study abroad agreement. This takes place in September. The second main deadline is the application for portability of financial aid. All students who receive financial aid, whether it's merit-based or need-based, must apply for financial aid portability. This would allow them to apply their financial aid package to the study abroad program. That application is due in early October. The third main deadline is the course pre-approval form, which is due in November. This pre-approval form allows students to designate which courses they plan to take while studying abroad, and then receive guarantee that they can transfer those credits back to Sewanee. The fourth main deadline comes in early December. This is the leave of absence and waiver form, which is due at the Office of Global Citizenship. It's very important that students keep abreast of these deadlines and to meet those obligations. As part of the study abroad application process, students must submit to a screening process. Students must be in good academic and social standing in order to be approved for study abroad. Students will undergo a screening process shared by the Dean of Students Office and the Office of Global Citizenship. When examining students' records, the Dean of Students and the Office of Global Citizenship consider the severity and frequency of social violations, particularly how recent they have been and what is the nature of the violations. They'll also look at the nature and history of honor code violations. Finally, a student must be in good academic standing in order to be approved for study abroad. At this point, I'd like to talk a little bit about financing a study abroad. For all study abroad programs, whether run by Sewanee or by third-party providers, Sewanee charges students our comprehensive fees, including tuition, room, board, and other fees. Sewanee then will turn around and pay the study abroad provider for its fees, the tuition, room, and board. If a student selects a program that does not offer full board, then Sewanee will refund the unused portion of the board from our own comprehensive fee. So for example, if the program does not provide lunches, then Sewanee will refund the lunch portion of its own board charge. Some study abroad providers also do not provide housing, in which case Sewanee will turn around and refund the housing portion of the bill that students have paid. In addition, some providers offer both single or apartment style housing options rather than just the standard double room. If a Sewanee student opts for an apartment or for a single room rather than a double room at a higher expense, the Sewanee student and the family will be responsible for paying the difference. Most of the study abroad program fees are fairly close to Sewanee's own, and so this model of paying the Sewanee comprehensive fee allows students to have the security of knowing how much the fees will be, as well as continuing with monthly payments without having to pay the provider directly. At this point, I'd like to talk about financing study abroad and the portability of financial aid. All students who receive any form of financial aid, whether it's need-based or merit-based, must apply for those funds to be applicable to study abroad programs. Some aspects of their financial need package may not be applicable. For example, work-study components are not allowed to be taken abroad. It's also important to note that the application process for portability of financial aid is competitive. Not all students are able to take their financial aid packages with them when they study abroad. Sewanee is striving to find mechanisms to make study abroad affordable to all students, but currently we cannot meet the demand for portable financial aid for all of its students. At this point, let me say a little bit about the application process for portability of financial aid. On the right-hand side of this slide is the form that is available on the Office of Global Citizenship webpage. This must be completed by students and submitted online. In addition, students must have a faculty member submit a supporting letter on behalf of the student applying for portable financial aid. The students are scored on a 10-point scale based on 3 criteria. First, they may receive up to 4 points for their GPA. Second, they may receive up to 4 points for their student essay in support of their application. And finally, they receive up to 2 points for their faculty endorsement letter. Based upon the various submissions and the scoring, students are ranked from top to bottom based on this 10-point scale. They also have the amount of financial need listed next to their score. Based upon the amount of funding available each semester, the standards committee goes down the list until they run out of funding based upon the ranking of the students. When selecting a study abroad program, students should try to select programs that allow them to advance in their campus curriculum in their major course of study. The form on the right-hand side of this slide is available at the registrar's office. Students complete this form by listing the courses that they wish to select from their study abroad program. Any course that they wish to take while abroad that would apply to a major or minor course of study must receive the signature from the program director for the department chair for that particular course of study. Completing this form ensures that Sewanee students will be able to transfer the courses that they take abroad back for Sewanee credit and for credit in their major or minor courses of study. The final two forms that students must fill out and file before going on study abroad are the leave of absence and liability waiver forms. Each of these forms is available on the Office of Global Citizenship webpage. Students should download the forms, print them out, and sign them, and then turn them in hard copy to the Office of Global Citizenship. The leave of absence form serves as a basis for authorizing a student to study abroad. It details what the student's obligations are while abroad and when they return. The liability waiver form is a standard form that indicates that the student will hold the university harmless for any incidents that may occur while the student is abroad on a study abroad program. Sewanee expects students to be honorable and good ambassadors for Sewanee while studying abroad. In fact, Sewanee students are subject to 3 different codes while abroad. First, they are subject to Sewanee's own honor code, whether it's on a Sewanee-led program or a third-party program. While abroad, if Sewanee students break the honor code, they may be subject to an honor council hearing once they return. Secondly, most third-party providers have their own honor and social codes. Students can be sent home for program violations, including excessive drinking or substance abuse. Most programs also have no tolerance for sexual harassment. Finally, students are also subject to local laws, which differ from those in the United States. So wherever they study abroad, they must be abreast of those laws and obey them. One of the main concerns that students and their families may have while studying abroad has to do with safety. All of the programs that Sewanee affiliates with have well-developed safety protocols. These kinds of protocols involve communication between the program leaders and the students on the programs. They also involve communication with Sewanee's Office of Global Citizenship and the families of the students on their programs. Some of the programs also involve or require cell phone use so that they can instantaneously communicate with students while on their programs. Sewanee is also developing its own protocol for how to mitigate risk and manage risk when abroad. We are going to have special sessions on how to limit risk while abroad, and we have some information on our website that provides tips for how to mitigate risk. We are also working to develop apps so that we can communicate more readily with students and indicate to them when there are dangerous zones around them while on study abroad. The Office of Global Citizenship is limited by FERPA in what it can be stated to parents while students are on abroad programs. But in a crisis situation, these kinds of precautions are loosened significantly. So we will communicate as much as necessary and are able to with families when there is an emergency situation. While a lot of this presentation has focused on the procedures for applying for study abroad and some of the cautionary concerns about studying abroad is a really exciting and important kind of opportunity. It's an opportunity to learn more about another culture and an environment. Secondly, study abroad offers an opportunity to advance your academic career. Simply put, you can take classes while on study abroad that you cannot at Sewanee, or you can see and work with the cultures that you are learning about in the classroom in a more direct kind of way. Third, study abroad offers a wonderful opportunity for personal growth. And finally, one of the main goals of the Office of Global Citizenship is to inculcate in our students a sense of responsibility of global citizens. In order to do that, students must spend time abroad to empathize with other populations around the world and understand how to address the kinds of global challenges that those countries face. At this point, you should begin to think about what are the next steps. I encourage you to begin the process by discussing study abroad programs with your family, with faculty in your major, and the Associate Dean for Global Citizenship. All of these people will be able to provide you appropriate advice for what are the programs that would meet your major and major needs, as well as other goals that you may have for study abroad. Secondly, be aware of the various forms that must be submitted and the deadlines by which you must submit those forms. This includes both the external application process as well as the internal application process. Third, when you've identified programs, begin that application process. For most of the study abroad providers, they will have online forms that you will submit through their websites or their portals. Finally, students may select more than one program to apply to, but we encourage you to focus on the programs that really meet the needs that you have. So limit yourself to 2 or at most 3 programs that you would apply to for study abroad. If you have any further questions, I encourage you to contact the Office for Global Citizenship. Both Shawnee Sissom and Scott Wilson, the Associate Dean for Global Citizenship, are available to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you and good luck with your application process.